I've already brought the queen this far, might as well keep on attacking the king. That's probably what Keith Allen of Ireland, mostly known for his FIDE arbitering skills, said to himself as a chess player here against international and women's grandmaster Jovanka Houska of England when he played the move queen to g3. Now, this is a very, very natural thing to do when you bring a piece into a game initially with aggressive intentions, perhaps even with positive effect. We're going to back up and show exactly how that happened. But sometimes the psychological mistake is to assume that you're the aggressor when you see your opponent's king perhaps on less than ideal squares, and obviously there's some lack of communication going on between the rooks. For black to just put the queen on what seems to be a very naturally aggressive square, focused on the fact that white can't really attack it now. Bishop e1 would allow queen takes e3 check, and it allows you to feel just a sense of security there and that your queen is not going to be kicked around. But Jovanka Houska showed that that was not really the case. When she played the move h4, suddenly this queen is really lacking some breathing room. Full disclosure, I actually analyzed bishop takes h7 as well, and honestly, it's hard to not see this move as perhaps a very, very forcing improvement over h4. One of the main lines is that after h4, something like g6 to trap the bishop doesn't work due to h5. And if pieces are captured, eventually a double check and then a blowing open of the attack here on the king side likely leads to variations that are forced mate. If you are into turning on the engine and confirming that I actually did my homework there, you can check the analysis. So probably bishop takes h7 followed by h4 was a little more accurate, but we're not going to hold it against Jovanka because whenever you play a move that leads to your opponent pretty much voluntarily trapping their own queen, it's hard to regret that. Here, Keith Allen played the move g6, and now if you want to pause the video or pause the stream, if you happen to be watching this live on the broadcast, you can do so. But the key thing is to take away the only remaining air that the queen has to breathe with the move bishop to f3. Once the g4 square is gone, there's actually no way to stop both rook h3, trapping the queen, as well as bishop to e1, trapping the queen. In this position after bishop f3, Keith Allen just resigned. Really a fun one here when you just look at it from the standpoint that a few moves ago, while we were definitely applauding Jovanka's decision, and I did so in my analysis at my blog at Chess.com to play f4 and to be aggressive here, the truth is the position is still relatively level. After the trade and the win of the pawn, black does give this check and ruin white's right to castle. And so with maybe some accurate moves, things like rook b to d8, and then put the queen on h6 safely, realize you're not the aggressor and kind of sit. While white is better in terms of the evaluation, the points, if you look at the position, the king on the g1 square, the rook's not being connected, some undeveloped pieces, and the fact that there's no real clear plan for white. If you push the f-pawn, e3 and e5 are weak. If you advance the g-pawn, then the king becomes more vulnerable. So I feel like this position would have had a lot more chess left in it if black had had the right idea about him, which was not to be overly aggressive with the queen. But again, you step too far, you run out of squares, and that's what happened here to Keith Allen with the very, very nice and subtle bishop f3. And oops, we did it again. The queen is trapped, and hope you enjoyed watching the video. Now, for those of you watching it on social media, remember you can also watch the broadcast over at Chess.com TV and Twitch.tv/chess. Of course, we have International Master Anna Rudolph, Grandmaster Danny King leading the way as we find out who's going to take that spot, who's going to win this event. Will it be Magnus himself to play against himself? That's not really possible, but should be fun if somehow that happened, right? Anyway, someone's going to get the spot at the candidates for a chance to compete for the World Chess Championship title. If you're watching this on social media for the first time, check out the entire Missed on the Isle playlist. If you're watching this anywhere else, please do consider giving us a retweet, a share, a like, all those sort of things. We appreciate it. And I'll see you around on Chess.com.